All right, guys, we are live. It's looking like these past couple weeks have had a lot of drop off. I'm gonna assume really this book has had more drop off from the book beforehand, and I think it's got to do more or less with the fact that this is a novelization of something people have already watched the movie for. But it's whatever. Today we're going to be doing the Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero finale, chapters 13 through 15. I don't know where Nightwing is. He's not here. But yeah, so we're gonna be doing chapters 13 through 15 for that. Before I start it, I don't know if you guys saw. I'm sure you did because most of you are on the Discord. There were 2 new DCAU books announced. I think just this past week. One this morning is going to be featuring Batwing for the first time in DCAU style, and then there's another one that's going to be featuring Kathy Kane in DCAU style for the first time. So that's exciting. While I'm on the subject, I've been going to Goodwill and finding like DCAU books almost every time that I go. So am I frozen? I hope I'm not frozen. But I've been finding DCAU books almost every time that I go. I found this one the other day, Batman Funhouse of Evil. Interestingly enough, it's drawn by Eric Deuscher, who did a lot of the like style guides and stuff for the new Batman Adventures, the new Batman Adventures merchandising and all that. So that's really interesting. And then I found the novelization for Justice League Secret Origins, which I already had, but if you'll notice side by side, one of them has this little red thing on it that says free poster inside, whereas the one I already had did not have that. So you open it up, and there's this cute little Superman poster going on. So really excited about those. And then of course I found the best DCAU book of them all, Superman to the Rescue. If you guys are nice, maybe I'll read this one to you after we finish Sub-Zero, because it's only 13 sentences long. I counted the other day. But yeah, I guess we'll go ahead. We'll jump into Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero. Then after that, I've got a couple small announcements. I mean, I guess maybe they're not big announcements. They're small announcements. But yeah, so after the book, I've got a couple very small announcements. And then maybe if people are still hanging out, maybe we'll read that Superman book. But yeah. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just start with chapter 13. Last time we read, like Batman and Robin just showed up to the oil tanker, and this whole thing happened. We got the polar bears jumped at them. Barbara was trapped on top of the oil tank, 70 feet above the deck of the platform. Flames lapped at the base of the tank on all sides. It was only a matter of seconds before the entire tank would blow, and she would be right in the middle of the fireball. Below her, she could see Belson begin to stir at the flames, spread as the flames spread closer to him. But she could hardly expect help from that quarter. Stand back! A voice called to her from the other side of the tank. Barbara looked down. It was Robin. He aimed his grappling gun at a pipe coming out of the top of the fuel tank and fired. The grapple shot upward, trailing its rope and wrapped around the pipe with a clang. Hurry! Robin called up as Batman tied the other end of the line to a large generator. Barbara rushed to the rusted handrail at the top of the ladder. After kicking the rail open, she wrenched a U-shaped piece of metal free, curled it over the line, and prepared to slide for her life. At that moment, Mr. Freeze emerged from the elevator, Freeze gun in hand. The sight of Batman and Robin seemed to knock him physically backwards for a second. You! She screamed, aiming his weapon. Oh, I thought that said she. It's he. I guess it's Mr. Freeze. You! He screamed, aiming his weapon at them. Look out! Barbara shouted. Batman and Robin whirled as one. In the same motion, they dove out of the way. A freeze ray slammed into the generator behind them, encasing it in ice. Freeze took aim again. Batman and Robin just kept rolling. kept going, rolling and somersaulting toward the control booth at the base of a large crane. They made it into the booth and pulled the door shut just as Freeze fired again. The ray encased the control booth in a block of ice 6 feet thick. The window of the booth cracked. Ice stabbed inside it. "We're trapped!" Robin cried, jumping away from the ice. Barbara began her slide down the line. Another explosion ripped through a fuel tank on the deck. The entire platform shook. Freeze staggered backward. The force of the explosion knocked Barbara sideways. The line snapped. She plummeted toward the deck, but managed to grab the broken railing of the catwalk for a second. It bent down with her, slowing her fall, but then it too broke away. With a scream, she dropped 15 feet to the deck. Freeze turned at the sound, then started after her. "Barbara!" Robin cried from inside the crane control booth. He pounded helplessly on the casing of ice that kept him from her. Turning to Batman, his face distorted in horror, Robin shouted, "We have to get out of here!" Batman was already at the controls of the crane. "I'm working on it," he said calmly. As Barbara regained her feet, she saw Freeze coming across the deck for her. She fled for cover on the other side of the ice-covered generator. Freeze stopped his pursuit when he saw Belson, who was now sitting up and rubbing his head. Freeze pulled him to his feet. Belson looked around, a shocked expression on his face. Flames blazed on all sides. "She's behind the generator over there!" Freeze shouted over the roar of the flames. "You go that way!" "Are you crazy?" Belson exclaimed. "There's no way now!" Freeze grabbed Belson's lapels and shook him furiously. "We're going to finish this!" "You're insane! The whole place is going to blow any minute! We've got to get out!" Belson broke away for a moment, but Freeze grabbed the doctor and spun him around again. "We're not leaving until you perform that operation!" Boom! A large tank exploded. Structures toppled on every side of them. Debris rained down, twisted pieces of metal, scaffolding, glowing embers of steel. The two men raised their arms in an attempt to ward off the deluge. "Look out!" Belson cried. He pushed Freeze backward and ran. A tower was falling directly toward them. Belson was clear, but Freeze stood rooted to the spot as the tower came screaming down. It crashed onto the deck nearby. Part of the wreckage bounced into him, knocking him down and pinning his legs to the ground. "Gregory, help me!" Freeze cried. Belson looked at him for a moment. Then he turned away, running for the stairs that led down off the deck. As Belson disappeared, Freeze pushed at the twisted wreckage with all his might. But even with his tremendous strength, he could not budge it. "Found it!" Batman said inside the control booth. He hit the power button. Lights flickered on the panel. The huge crane's motor rumbled into action, exhaust belching from its pipe. "It's moving!" said Robin. Batman pulled a lever. The huge hook on the end of the crane came to life. As he worked the controls, the crane whipped from side to side, slinging the metal hook with it. "Brace yourself," Batman said. He pulled one more lever. The enormous hook came barreling in at them. Batman and Robin hit the floor. The metal smashed into the control booth. The ice shattered, but not all of it. Robin got up and pushed the door. "Still blocked," he said. "One more time," Batman responded. He manipulated the controls again, and once more the crane swung back and forth, whipping the huge hook with it. "Hang on," Batman warned, yanking hard on a lever. The hook came rushing in. The impact slammed the two men against the back wall of the booth. This time, the rest of the ice cracked open. Batman and Robin clambered out. The first person they saw was Barbara, who was dragging the twisted wreckage of Freeze's legs. Batman and Robin hurried to her aid. It took all three of them to lift the heaviest piece. Freeze just lay on the deck, his face contorted with pain. Batman knelt beside him. "My leg is broken," Freeze moaned. Gently, Batman took one arm. Robin knelt down and took the other, draping one of Freeze's arms over each of their shoulders. They lifted him up carefully. "Come on, let's get out of here," Batman said. "No," Freeze responded. "Not without Nora." Where is she? Batman asked. Down below, Barbara told him. There's a boy there too. Come on, this way. Barbara started for the door leading to the stairway. Batman and Robin followed, carrying Mr. Freeze. When Barbara opened the door, flames came roaring out. She leaped back, shielding her face. There's no way, Robin began. Stand back, Freeze said calmly. He aimed his gun at the doorway and fired. The door frame and everything around it froze. The flames were swept back down the stairway as smoke billowed out. Batman and Robin helped Freeze to the landing at the top of the stairs. Looking down, they saw nothing but fire blazing up the stairway. I'll hold back the flames, said Freeze, taking his arms from around Batman and Robin's shoulders. He propped himself up against the railing at the top of the stairway. He pointed his weapon down the stairs and fired. The first flight of stairs froze, pushing the flames back a bit. Batman started down the stairs. Barbara moved to follow him. Robin grabbed her arm and pulled her back. You stay here. Batman needs me to show him where Nora and the boy are, Barbara shouted over the explosions. She's right, Batman yelled up the stairs. Robin, get the Batwing ready. If this place starts to blow, get out of here. I won't leave without you, Robin shouted back before dashing off for the Batwing. Batman and Barbara took a few steps down the stairs, but had to retreat as the flames surged back up from below. Batman lifted his cape and drew Barbara inside it, shielding them both from the fire. The stairs dripped with melting ice. Freeze took aim and fired down the staircase again, pushing back the flames. Go, he pleaded. We're running out of time. Batman and Barbara headed back down into the inferno. So that's chapter 13. What y'all got going on? That book is thick, dummy thick. I'm interested in the Superman book. We're all interested in the Superman book. Hi, Mattie. This is awesome that you cover and find out what's interesting and important in Sub-Zero. Keep it up. Hey, thanks, Kendrick. We're actually, I don't know if this is going to spoil the narrative that we're doing for the Watchtower Database videos, but we're planning on doing a Sub-Zero timeline video pretty soon. I think we've got 2 other videos that have to come before it, but it's on the docket. I seriously want to see him read that thick. Frick, messed up that message. I hate mobile. No, Mattie, keep reading Mr. Freeze in a high-pitched voice. I wish I had a decent Mr. Freeze voice, but like you can tell in the recordings that there's like a little bit of machine manipulation with the recording of Mr. Freeze's voice. So it's like there's no way to hit it perfectly. I feel like the way that I'm doing it right now is closer to the lady who's like, "Are they selling chocolates?" I can't do her voice perfectly, but it's close. There was nothing really in that chapter that needed note taking. So I'm just gonna mosey on to chapter 14. The blaze on the oil platform was reaching critical mass. One by one, the tanks of fuel exploded, gradually engulfing the structure in flames. The crane was on fire now, as were the pylons, most of the fuel tanks, and nearly every piece of machinery. Gregory Belson looked up at the fire from the base of one of the pylons. He'd made it down the stairs before they'd been consumed by the flames. Now he reached the small motorboat moored underneath the platform. He untied the mooring line and jumped into the boat. The outboard monitor fired up immediately. Belson pointed the boat for the open sea and gunned the throttle. 2 more tanks exploded, one after the other. Flaming debris flew in all directions. Belson turned to watch. Engulfed in flames, the crane swayed back and forth like some huge blazing tree. Finally, it snapped in the middle. The top part plunged to the deck, bounced off the edge of the platform, and spun out toward the sea. "Oh no!" Belson said in disbelief. His eyes grew wide with horror. The enormous burning crane, trailing the twisted hook and cable, came plummeting at him. Belson raised his arms as if they could protect him and let out a scream of terror. The crane smashed into the boat like an anvil crushing a paper cup. Shattered into countless pieces, the boat sank instantly into the steel gray sea. Just do a cold and somber voice. What? What did he say? I'm not sure. What did who say? What did I say? I don't know. What did I say? Batman broke through the door of the operating room. Thick smoke rushed out and flames licked at the ceiling. He raised his cape and fanned it around. Barbara stumbled in behind him, coughing and wiping her eyes. Kunak! She called. Where are you? Here! Came a terrified voice from the other side of the room. Barbara fought her way through the smoke. She found Kunak huddled in a corner. Come on, big guy. I've got you, she said, lifting him onto her shoulder. Nora lay inert on the operating table. Batman unhooked the wires and took her in his arms. An explosion from above rocked the room. Batman and Barbara staggered backward against the operating table, then started for the door. Another explosion sent them reeling into the doorway. Somehow, they both managed to stay on their feet and head back down the corridor. But they stopped at the stairway, which was engulfed in flames. Freeze! Batman called up the stairs. There was no answer, only the roar of flames, then a crash as the stairway caved in. They jumped back to avoid the burning debris. Batman turned to Barbara. Is there another way out? The elevator, she said. They rushed back down the corridor to the elevator. Barbara punched the button. The mesh doors opened and they stepped inside. Batman with Nora in his arms and Barbara with Kunak in hers. Barbara hit the button and the elevator started up. Smoke poured in through the wire mesh. Barbara, Batman, and Kunak coughed uncontrollably. Another tank erupted above them, tearing a hole in the platform. Debris thundered on top of the elevator. Flames started to leap from the shaft through the wire mesh. The elevator jerked to a stop. Barbara punched the buttons over and over again. Come on, come on, she wailed. It was no use. The lights were off. The elevator was dead. Batman and Barbara huddled in the corner, trying to protect Kunak and Nora and shield their own faces as well. But it was futile. The smoke would surely choke them all in less than a minute. Oh, yeah. Okay, I see what you're doing now. I got you, Den. Alone at the top of the stairwell, Freeze fought off the flames as well as he could. Robin had already dashed back to the Batwing. Freeze fired his ice gun in every direction, trying to hold back the fire. Burning debris rained down on all sides. He knew his time was short. When he heard the staircase collapse below, he feared that Nora too was lost for good. Then he heard Barbara's scream from the elevator shaft. Wincing in pain from his broken leg, he used every ounce of strength he had left to drag himself across the floor. Through the burning debris to the shaft. Okay, gotcha. I goofed. I thought there was a period somewhere, but there wasn't. Smoke and flames poured out. Struggling, he draped his arm over the edge of the shaft and fired the freeze gun down into it. He fired again. Then, with a superhuman effort, he lifted himself up on one elbow just far enough to hit the elevator's up button. The elevator whirred to life. Barbara peered up through the smoke. The lights were back on. It was a miracle. They were moving. The elevator doors slid open. Batman and Barbara came staggering out, coughing from the smoke, but still carrying Nora and Kunak in their arms. Freeze was lying on his back. His eyes lit up. You found them! Batman bent down to help. Let's go. There's no time left. Freeze waved him off. Another explosion rocked the platform. Freeze shouted to be heard over it. Take them first. You can come back for me. Batman paused and gave him a nod. Batman and Barbara sprinted across the deck, dodging through flames and debris. The deck was an inferno, and the Batwing was nowhere to be seen. They kept running until they reached the edge of the platform. There was nothing but ocean below and the mayhem of flames and exploding oil tanks behind. Kunak screamed in fear. Another explosion ripped through the platform. A fireball came roaring at them. They ducked and the flames whooshed over their heads. Then they heard a deep cracking sound underneath them. Barbara looked down at her feet. The platform was splitting apart, and a huge crevice was snaking its way across the deck. They were now standing on a small island that had separated from the rest of the platform. Barbara and Batman both swayed on their feet, fighting to keep their balance on the teetering surface. Slowly, the section of the platform they were standing on began to topple into the ocean. Barbara got ready to jump away from it. Then something large and black rose up from below. The Batwing. Its engine screamed as Robin tried to steady the craft. When the broad black wing was within reach, Barbara took a deep breath and made the leap onto it. Still holding Kunak, she kept her gaze steady on the wing beneath her feet as she passed the boy to Robin, who sat him on one side of his lap. Batman, carrying Nora, jumped onto the wing next and placed the lifeless woman in the seat behind Robin. Robin struggled to hold the Batwing steady as he began to move it away from the platform. The small island on which Batman and Barbara had been standing crashed into the sea. A giant wave of water rose over it. "Let's go! Let's go!" Robin cried, but Batman turned to go back to the platform. "If I'm not back in time, go without me," he shouted to Robin. "What? Wait! Robin protested. But it was too late. Batman leaped from the wing back onto what was left of the oil platform. Batman dashed across the deck. Another tank exploded, knocking him flat to the ground as he picked himself up. He spotted Freeze through the flames, but with another gigantic cracking roar, the deck between them split open. The chasm yawned while underneath Freeze. He fell through it, then caught himself with one arm on the ledge of the deck. Batman leaned across from the opposite ledge. He offered his hand over the flaming abyss between them. Freeze reached for it, his eyes wild with fear. Batman stretched a little farther. Only inches separated them. At that moment, the part of the platform that Freeze was clinging to fell away from Batman. Freeze lost his grip on the ledge and plunged into the ocean below. "Freeze!" Batman called down into the chasm. He heard only a receding scream in return. Batman stood up. Behind him, a large fuel tank on the platform was engulfed in flames. Batman's eyes went wide. He raced to the edge of the deck and launched himself into the abyss. The tank blew. All but one of the remaining tanks exploded a split second later, causing the entire platform to detonate in a spectacular ball of fire. Flaming debris flew out in all directions. As he plunged toward the ocean, Batman saw the Batwing swooping in. He drew a bead on the wing with his grappling gun. Robin used every piloting skill he had to track Batman's trajectory. Batman fired the grapple. It found the wing, and Robin immediately put the craft into a climb. The Batwing flew high over the burning platform, the Dark Knight dangling from its wing. The final and largest fuel tank exploded. The flames reached high enough to lick at Batman's heels. And we've got an illustration. That's what it looks like. Can we get Mattie to voice Batman and Robin in something? I feel like my Robin voice is better than my Batman voice, but I'm down. I'll do them both. I feel like my Batman voice isn't very consistent because it draws from multiple different versions of Batman, and so it sometimes it sways a little too far one side or the other. But I have always wanted to be a voice actor. So if anybody has any voice acting opportunities, hit your guy up. He watched the pylons crumble beneath the platform. What was left of it collapsed into the sea with a giant splash, followed by the hiss of extinguished fire. There was nothing left now. A column of black smoke billowed up from where the platform had been. Countless bits of wreckage floated in the implacable. How do you say this word?
Implacable. Implacable.
Thanks, I hate it. Countless bits of wreckage floated in the implacable swell of the sea. Batman looked down on it in wonder. There was no sign of Mr. Freeze. Silently, he began climbing the rope back to the Batwing. As he turned away, Batman did not see the two furry white faces surface in the water below him. He did not see the polar bears swim through the debris searching. and he did not see the silvery gloved hand reach up from under the water to grab hold of the neck of one of the bears and pull himself free of the sea's grip. That's actually that's exactly how the Zeta Project ends. Is a hand just reaching up out of the ocean. Your Robin is just Sonic. Yeah, I mean, so my Robin is Sonic, my Flash is Sonic, but they're like slightly different variations of Sonic. But I've always I actually sent a demo reel years ago. Like there was a Sonic fan film that was casting, and so I sent them like me trying to do a couple different voices. I was really hoping to go for Sonic, but unfortunately Sonic was already casted, and they didn't want me for anybody else. So I was like, okay, well, then that's that. But Sonic is my bae. And we're on chapter 15. Chapter 14 had nothing of note really happen. It's all the big action climax scene. I assume chapter 15 is gonna be where we get like the whole like a week ago, Freeze's blah blah blah. Yeah. Good evening, Gotham City. This is Summer Gleason with the 6 o'clock evening news. The scientist fine-tuned the satellite. Wait. Okay. It doesn't start with a quotation mark, so I thought it was going to keep going. With quotations. I don't know. The scientist fine-tuned the satellite dish to get the best reception he could. Then he took a steaming cup of coffee from his partner and settled into an easy chair to watch the news. Up here in the Arctic Weather Research Station, darkness had long since descended. Outside, a heavy snow was falling. The polar wind howled, but inside it was warm, with all the comforts of home. On the TV, a photograph of Nora was displayed behind Summer Gleason. In a case that could herald a new era in cryogenic medicine, Nora Freeze has been revived from her frozen state and has undergone a vital organ transplant, continued the newswoman. Nora Freeze is the wife of the late Victor Freeze, who was killed 2 weeks ago when an offshore drilling platform exploded and collapsed into the ocean. The television screen showed footage of the burning wreckage of the oil platform sinking into the ocean. An inset photo of Victor Freeze appeared in one of the corners of the screen. If the two scientists had turned and looked over their shoulder, they would have seen the same face in a window pane. The face was watching the television through an opening that had been cleared in the frost of the glass. Now a picture of Bruce Wayne appeared on the screen. The transplant operation, funded by the Wayne Tech Corporation under the auspices of its CEO, Mr. Bruce Wayne, was today declared a resounding success by the chief surgeon at Gotham General Hospital, Summer Gleason said. Mrs. Freeze is reported to be resting in stable condition. Ironically, the cryogenic technology developed by her husband, which saved Nora's life, is the same technology that tragically transformed him into the criminal, Mr. Freeze. Outside, through the patch in the window, the corners on the mouth of the watching man turned up in a hint of a smile. The camera moved in close on Summer Gleason as she delivered her last line. It's a shame Victor Freeze will never know. She turned to a new page and went on to the next story. In other news, Gotham's mysterious defender, Batman, was reportedly seen last night helping police apprehend the leaders of an underworld gun-running operation. Outside, the man turned away from the window. A trace of a smile was still on his face. Flanked by his two polar bears, he limped away from the cozy glow of the weather station. A homemade brace sheathed his broken leg, and he used a wooden staff to support his weight. The man leaned into the howling blizzard and hobbled back toward his home in the distant snow-capped mountain. Soon, he and the bears disappeared from view, swallowed by the swirling sub-zero whiteness. And that's the end of the book. We have an about the author. James Raven lives in the Mission District of San Francisco. He has written many books for young readers, including the 6-part Dojo Rats series. He has also written many interactive choose-your-own-adventure books under the name J. Leibold. Currently, he is writing a CD-ROM titled Journey into the Brain. I wonder if he ever finished that or if he's still currently writing it. And then we get a there's an ad at the back of the book to subscribe to choose any of these action-packed titles and receive 12 monthly issues. Retail price $21. You pay $16 for Adventures in the DC Universe, Batman and Robin Adventures, Impulse, Robin, and Superman Adventures. So that's really cool. You could get 12 issues of a comic series for $16. That's like $1.33 an issue, which is ridiculous. Hey Vader, we just wrapped up on the book, but there's still some stuff going on. I'm gonna go ahead and put the last couple notes in my spreadsheet. If you guys wanted to drop like Q&A stuff, you can go ahead and do that. Let's see. So I haven't used the spreadsheet in a while because like it's been a huge action thing. So for those of you who might be new here, every time we finish a chapter, I tend to put stuff in a spreadsheet that helps us determine canonicity and timeline clues, stuff like that. This being a novelization, canonicity is not really in question. But the first column on the spreadsheet is for like character appearances. So we had Summer Gleason in this last chapter, and then 2 unnamed scientists, and then Mr. Free or Nora Freeze's doctor was mentioned, but we don't see him. His name is, I want to say like Philip D'Anjou or something like that. They ended up naming him in the new Batman Adventures episode, but he also ends up becoming Nora's new husband. And then let's see, the next column is for stuff that would make it non-canon, which isn't really too much of an issue here. The only thing in the entire book that didn't really line up is that in the movie, Belsim's car is a different model than what the book said. Next thing is in-show events that are mentioned, which the whole book is an in-show event. Then the next column after that is timeline clues, which we're told 2 weeks have passed since the oil rig blew up, and then stuff that has like a concrete. For the next column is stuff that has like a concrete intro in the DCAU. So like if it had an origin episode, that's what would be put there. There's nothing new that I haven't mentioned already. The next column is pop culture stuff, then weather stuff, like if it's like it's a bright sunny summer day or if it's snowing, anything like that. And then the last thing's other clues, which like I think we've basically got it covered. So now that the book is done. Den has a question. Was Vicky Vale ever in the DCAU? Was Vicky Vale ever in the DCAU? That's a good question. I'm just gonna Google it because I feel like yes, but I don't remember either. I suppose any of us could have Googled it, but here I am on the live stream with slow internet trying to figure it out. I'll come back to that tab. I don't remember. Yeah, $16 like for 12 issues is ridiculous. What's my favorite design for each of the DC Trinity? Are we talking like as far as like their designs within the DCAU, or are we talking about in general? So I will read this if you guys want me to. Just because like we're early on the stream. But I did want to yay, we've only got 2 watching. I'm gonna guess it's just Den and Byproduct who are here. That's a-okay. But yeah, so announcements. The poll finished up yesterday. Yeah, it doesn't look like Vicky Vale made it to the DCAU. Poll finished up yesterday, and let's see. In general, but you could focus on DCAU looks. So DCAU looks. I like the Justice League look for Batman. It's kind of cool seeing him in the Beyond suit in the start of Rebirth. And then I think I like Superman's STAS look more than his Justice League Unlimited look. He's just more slim, and it's I feel like it's more suiting for him. Because like doing the whole broad shoulders thing kind of puts him in like the same look as almost every other Tim male. And Wonder Woman, I think, only had the one look, so there's that. But so the poll for the next book ended yesterday, and Twitter decided we're doing Wings of War. As it says on the back, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, The Flash, Martian Manhunter. Together, they are the Justice League. 7 superheroes working together to save the world. Batman prefers to work alone, but the Justice League needs him to be a team player if they're going to keep the World Assembly meeting from erupting into war. With 2 very different approaches to the situation, Batman and Hawkgirl will have to learn how to deal with each other before they can save the world. But that might take more time than the World Assembly can spare. So this is, yeah, I guess Justice League vs. Fatal 5 would technically be an alternate look. It is, I guess, yeah, it's got a sword. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, so this is what we're starting next week. But I believe next week we will actually be on the Watchtower Database channel. James and I are trying to troubleshoot getting that set up since I don't have access to the channel right now. So I'll keep things lined up and let you guys know. But we figured since I'm doing these on a regular basis, it makes a lot more sense to do it somewhere where YouTube will pay us money for the views on it, even if it's not a lot of views. And doing it on the regular channel will actually get us more views than we get here. So next week, we'll be doing Wings of War, most likely on the Watchtower Database channel. And then after I get off of here, well, I've got like a long list of things that I need to get done. But one of the things that I'll be doing is we will be starting content for like book reports, I guess, where like for the ones that aren't novelizations, I'll summarize the books, go over like timeline stuff, continuity stuff, etc., etc., etc. Talk about what worked, what didn't work, you know, if it fits in canon, if it does, then where, all that kind of stuff. And they're not going to be, those are going to be extra videos that we're going to use to kind of give me a chance to sit in the editor's chair and start learning video editing, or how to be better at it. I used to do a lot of video editing, like AMVs, stuff like that. But I ended up like in really rough times after moving out of my dad's house and didn't get to really keep practice on any of like my video or music editing stuff. So it's this is gonna give me the chance to do that. That way in the future we can probably put videos out even faster, that because both James and I will be hopefully good editors. And so we'll be able to be doing more content, hopefully. And with that, then more money, and then with the more money, we can quit our other jobs so that we can focus more on this, yada, 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 yada. But, I'll be learning. But that being said, are you guys ready for Superman to the rescue? Because ATM Fall Off Boy, we've just finished Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero. We're doing Superman to the rescue if you guys want it. It's 13 sentences long. Every page has drawings on it, so I will be showing those to you guys. I don't even know if I'm going to take notes on this because I don't know if there are any notes to take. But yeah, Den seems really excited about it. So yeah, sounds like that's what we're going to do. So on the back, It says, Superman to the rescue. DC Comics' greatest superheroes have many strengths and skills. Follow Superman on this adventure about helping others. And then there's a little, what you call it? I guess a review blurb. It says, extremely valuable for fostering thoughtful young readers, from Dr. Katie Monin, assistant professor of literacy and author of teaching graphic novels. And Jesus Christ, this was an $8 book. I bought it for like $2. It's from Capstone, who's doing like all the modern DCAU books. Also available, we have Superman Fights for Truth, Batman is Brave, which I found Batman is Brave at a Goodwill once, and I didn't pick it up, and I'm upset at myself. This was before doing book club, so like I didn't see a need to grab it. But now I'm sitting here like, F, that would have been fun. And then there's Batman and Robin Team Up. But yeah, we're gonna read Superman to the Rescue. Superman soars through the clear, quiet sky. Suddenly, the hero hears danger below. I'm going to show you guys every single one. He's hearing the danger. Choo, choo! That train is in trouble, says Superman. To the rescue! Here we go. That train is in trouble. The tracks are goofed, man. Who did that? Who goofed them tracks? The hero fixes the train tracks with his heat vision. That's awfully considerate of him. He's doing the good Lord's work. Toot toot! That ship is sinking, says Superman. To the rescue! Here he goes. He's going to save the ship. Are you guys ready to see how he saves the ship? The hero saves the ship with his super strength. Here he is. You can see there's a little dude here and a woman. And this woman's all the way back here. What are they doing out in the ship? I don't know. But they're out there. Woo! That building is burning, says Superman. To the rescue! Here he is with a bunch of unnamed firefighters looking at that burning building. Why does he have to announce to the rescue? He could just go do it, dude, you know? Like, who's he talking to? Or are we just hearing his internal voice? The hero puts out the fire with his freeze breath. Dude, should have had Superman versus Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, you know what I mean? That's what we needed. Ding, ding! That ice cream is melting, says Superman with a smile. All that help deserves a reward. To the rescue! And that's how the book ends. That's it. That's Superman saves the day. Congratulations. I want to find Batman and Robin Team Up. You could probably find the. I'm sure that like all of those books are on Capstone's website. I actually just reached out and sent them an email earlier to see if they would be down to partner up with us. If not to run ads on our videos, then to at least send us review copies of books so that we can, do content on them. But we'll see how that goes. It was one of those like forms where you only can like put in 500 characters. And so I didn't get to get the whole email to them, but I was like, hey, I would love to talk to you guys about a business opportunity if you want to hit me back. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, I'm sorry, but I won't be able to watch this live as my internet is being rather not good. So kind of bye. I'll watch it when it's uploaded. That's A-OK, ATM Fall Boy. So this is unquestionably canon. Yeah, absolutely. This is 100% canon. There was nothing inside of this book that makes me feel as if it's not canon. And this is DCAU canon confirmed. But yeah, that being said, unless you guys wanted to chit chat anything else, we might end the stream early, because we just finished 2 whole books, you guys. We did a lot. But yeah, like I was saying, next week, Wings of War, most likely on the Watchtower Database channel. I'm excited to be doing it over there. I feel like it'll be a lot more lively, because the way that I've been promoting this now has just been through either Twitter or Discord, and then James shares the links. But like, if a video were to show up in people's feed rather than links, it would be much more successful. So I feel as though there will be a lot more community engagement starting next week, but we shall see. I still have to figure out what's going on with that. He's got me using like a different live streaming platform to get into it. What has been my favorite experience on the Watchtower Database Discord? Favorite experience has got to be the time Rave Blitz said he was going to educate me on what furries are. Is Wings of War a new story or an adaptation? Dan, were you not paying attention when I was reading the back of the book? It is a brand new story. It's a brand new story. Apparently Bane is in it. So I'm excited about that. It's in the same it's in the same series as that Golden Opportunity book that we did for the first week of this, or I guess not first week, first month. So it's not the same author though. So I am interested to see how it goes. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and dude, that rave convo was amazing. Oh yeah, it absolutely was. Did he send like a Corey in the house video or something? That was some nonsense. But that being said, I think I'm gonna go ahead and skid out. God, on one hand, I missed those, but on the other hand, they were repetitive. Yeah, I mean, it was way too much. It was yikes. But I'm not gonna dwell on him for too long. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, and I'll just leave you guys with
Implacable.
Wait, where's my speaker?
Implacable.
It is there. Okay.
Implacable. Implacable.
All right, yeah, I'm out of here. All right. Thank you guys for stopping by. Hopefully the next one will be a little bit more popping off in the comments and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a wonderful evening. I'm going to go get some dinner. I love y'all. I'll see you tomorrow. Vanishing Point tomorrow. Stay tuned.